What's up, YouTube? We got a lot to talk about in this one. When I talk about things, I'm talking about the groups of people that are doing what I'm talking about. Yes, you will hear women, you will hear F boys, you will hear these labels because that's how other people acknowledge things nowadays. Not only that, they seem to be skewing the lines of what those things really are. Yes, mainly coming from females because they call everybody they're pissed off that is a male a man, which you got that completely wrong. It's not our fault you keep picking F boys that, you know, think it's funny to talk with a silver tongue. You women should know by now, once you see that going down, that that might not be what you want. But do you? No. You get excited, you go along with this dumb shit. Next thing you know, you're in a relationship and coming out with trauma, or what you say is trauma. See, that's the point where these gold digging hoes, and if it was a good woman, get mixed up. Right there. That's one of them. Because we don't know if she was a gold digging hoe just playing sweet and innocent. We do by her actions and, what went down. Kind of like, the person in my family acting like, she was a single mom. She did everything she could do, but she's out here not working, using men to pay for her bills. I mean, this seemed to be a trend from the 60s and 70s going into now. They called it feminism. That's not feminism. See, the word feminism used to stand for, you know, class, being feminine, a classy lady that liked to dress nice or to look decent and smell nice when she went out. She was still covered. These dumbasses have destroyed that. And this is why your older women in your family call you a piece of shit. And they're all disgusted with how you choose to act. No, older people loved me until they started listening to other people without being a part of the situation. Then certain older people started to believe things. That's how manipulation works. That's how the devil deceives. Come on now. That's exactly what manipulation is. This is how they get you to believe in witchcraft, which gives it power. This is how they get you to believe in evil things and to do evil things, which is a type of power. Imagine that. Everybody going after the wrong type of power. Also, I have to drop this. There's a lot of females out there, and they all use the same thing, some type of abuse, some type of, this or that. But what they don't do is explain the whole story. All they do, let's say the guy did this or didn't, let's say the guy did this. All they do is start with what he did. They don't go into the truth on how it got there. Like the thing with Rihanna and Chris Brown. Yes, I do think that was a setup. I do 100%. I think Beyonce and Jay Z sent her ass in there to start that fight with him because isn't that Crips and Bloods? Isn't that, rivalry? Also, we know that Jay Z and Beyonce doesn't like anybody doing better than them. Isn't that the same problem that was between Puffy and Biggie? Yes. Isn't that the same problem between Puffy and Tupac's group? Yes. And these people said that they started out as neighborhood watch. Boy, if that ain't manipulation, I don't know what is. They're telling you they're doing it for good things, but everything they do is murder, uh, drugs, prostitution. That sounds like the Egyptians. That sounds like Sodom and Gomorrah making excuses for what they're doing. Yeah, what if this is all a demon doing all this? Because they have control over these people because they decided to do things that gave them control. Like the music opening doors. Everything's done by vibrations, right? Even the Lord says that in Genesis. He spoke this into existence, which means he used vibrational frequencies to make everything. Right. What happens when, vibration gets so bad that the whole world starts moving? Right. Um, yep. Isn't it also true that if you get enough vibration and movement, you can move things like big physical things, not microscopic things. But that's where we get radio waves. That's where we get, you know, any type of invisible wave. And everybody talking about, oh well, we got to pay for electric. Yeah, it comes from no, that electric comes from the waves from the ground. That's why you need a copper rod 8 feet into the ground, so it hits all the electronic waves that are in the ground. Where is it extracting? It comes into your house and then back to the pole. You are feeding the electric company. And they're making you think that it's coming off of coal and all this other shit. No, it's not. It's coming out of the ground, just like every other wave does. But anyway, with these females, you know, and I'm talking about the groups that we know for a fact are using sorcery, conversion, uh, love bombing, all that sorcery and conversion. It's just, detailing that for you because some people are like, what does he mean? Love bombing, art of manipulation, black magic. Uh, every time you guys see an ad, the same thing is happening. You're being brainwashed and being, oh, I want that. Yeah, it's how you're losing your money. Your slave money that you thought you got to pick and decide. You didn't. That's why they have gatekeepers. You can pick any job as long as it's under this line until you prove that they want you above that line. Until then, you ain't going above that line. Well, that's not true. Yes, it is. Even the ones that say that, oh, well, I didn't have anything. Yeah, you did. Those people let certain people through so those stories would come out. That's it. They are controlling all of that. It is all basically, to them, a movie set. You don't get to see what's going on behind the scenes. And any normal motherfucker that figures it out disappears or becomes deemed crazy out of nowhere. And everybody believes it. Fuck out of here. Gee, is that the same thing these females do? Yeah. Well, aren't these males that are doing that? Yes. Satanic ones that do not fit the description of a man. And look at this. All the women have been manipulated into going after them. Isn't that what billionaires have always wanted? To have all the money and all the women that they could choose from? And look at it now. These women don't even give a shit about morals. They'll go with these people just because they can give them a life that they don't have to supposedly worry about nothing. You gotta worry about a lot. Do they want you dead? Are they using you? Really? You all want money that bad? Wow. And shit, God's been showing us right on the people that are traveling. Some of them have very little money, and they've gotten to see. beautiful places and stay at beautiful places that most people spend millions of dollars to witness and enjoy. These people are paying a fraction of that and still getting to do it. So, something tells me you don't really need money. Just need to not be lazy. Most of them use a vehicle. You could walk. It's still semi lazy, but I'll leave them alone because they're doing better than most of us. Just like the poor people that everybody gets on and makes fun of and doesn't want to be around. Yeah, some of them have some demons attached to them, but they're in a better position with the man upstairs than we are. Yeah, they don't have material things that they're, you know, goo gooing and gaga over. Yeah, they're upset that they don't have them because they haven't realized the situation they're in is better than any one of us. Even though it sucks, it's cold, it's hard, and it's this life of luxuries keeps, annoying you to come get it. And what does everybody do? You ain't shit unless you work. You ain't shit unless you work. Work for who? You fucking idiots. You're working for pedophiles. Yeah, all your money goes in a circle right back to them. And guess what? They get to play Monopoly games and steal from the bank. They get to make it more than what they should have gotten. For every dollar you put in, they get 10. So there you go. Well, that's how banks work. Yeah, no shit. Where do you think their money goes after you give your money goes after you give it to them? In a bank. What does that bank do? Borrow off of it. You don't think these motherfuckers are a part of that? Yes, they are. And pretty funny, y'all loved Bitcoin. You pushed it. You pushed it. I bet you all are kicking yourself in the ass now, finding out that Epstein was behind it. It wasn't just Epstein behind it. It was the bankers trying to do the same scheme they did before, again, but with a fake number on a screen and tell you that that's your money. They've already got you guys used to it by switching to plastic. They did it when they switched from gold to paper IOUs. They did the same shit. They just keep doing the same thing. And you all just keep running in a circle. What did Smashing Pumpkins say? Still just a rat in a cage. Right. Because you got to understand, this world is like a big, basically, playpen. But to get into the better playpens, you have to make sure that your overseers love you and like you, or you're not going into that other area. And that's just the way it goes. Even if you get into that other area, you have to really analyze why you're there and why they allowed you there. You could be a blanking sign just to distract people. Yep, they let you in just so people would say, well, they let this person in, so that can't be true. There you go. That's manipulation. 80% truth. Well, if you know all this, then how do we know you're not doing it? Exactly. Because there's something about manipulation that is missing, and that is 100% truth, factual, what actually happened and why. This is what manipulation leaves out. They leave out the 20% truth, or the 80% truth they use to dance around you. They leave out the 20% lie and just let you use your own brain and assumptions to fill it in. They help with it, yeah. But then once you're done and you connected all this and you find out you're wrong, what do they normally say? Well, I wasn't the one that told you that. You were the one that believed that. You see what I mean? Right there. Manipulation, sorcery. And it happens that quickly. Yeah. Haven't you? I know all of you have been in that position. thinking that something's going to go down the right way, and these people have all jazzed you up to do it. And then once you do it, you find out that you were set up the whole time. You lose, they win, and you're in trouble for what you just did. They get to walk away. There you go. Should have taught you then. Uh, well, you had it happen to you 4 times. No shit. You know what that falls under, right? Manipulation of everybody's different. You can't treat them the same way. Who pushes that? Women. And amazing how the statistics come out that 80% of them are narcissistic. 80%. Yeah. That means your likelihood of getting a woman that is not a unstable psycho is the same likelihood of them finding the man with all their standards. 0.01%. So when we're out here dating and trying to find the one, the majority of them are these types of women, even though they don't seem like it. That's their whole get up. Just like when they try and get drinks out of men. What is their whole get up? Try to stand provocatively, try to act stupid but cute, so you approach. Why? Because it's baiting you. And you say they're not hunters. Yeah. Oh yeah, they are. Well, we say that because they normally don't go hunting. Oh, shut up. They're just too fucking lazy. Yeah, they don't want to get up at 4 in the morning and go sit in that cold and do all that. You know why we will do that? Because the torture of that is better than being with them. That's why. We would rather be out in a fucking forest where we might get attacked by an animal or a crazy person in the middle of the night in a tree with a gun just to stay the fuck away from her. We do the same thing with fishing, even though it is fun for fishing. Don't get me wrong, those things are fun, but this is another plus to it. Now, when girls go, what do? Girls' night, partying, men, right? But guys go someplace by themselves to stay by themselves. Women don't do that. Some do, but a lot of them were either raised by a male or had a male figure in their life where they seen the stupidness and they decided to stay away from it. Some of them know all that stupidness. They will act like they are against it, but secretly be doing it. I've been saying it. I've been saying it. If the good people don't stand up and put a stop to this, the world's going to implode. And it's on its way. If you've ever seen a very small or slow or even slow motion implosion of a building or anything, that's what's going on. Sooner or later, gravity's going to catch up and it's going to go fast. We are the ones that make up the morale of life on this planet. So if the morale of life is low, that's our fault. If the morale of life is up, that's we did that. Do you know that still brings us back to good and evil, God and the devil? Oh yeah, it does. Well, to have good things happening, you know, actual good things happening with not, silent hooks or snags behind it, you got to have God. That's where that comes from. Now, without God, everything turns dark, doesn't it? Yeah, without that moral guidance and us not, you know, being that type of human, what does the world turn into? Hell on earth. You all haven't noticed that? Also, your country deliberately put freedom of speech because they knew they were going to turn this into a sanctuary for Satan. That's why they set it up the way they did. And it was England that still has control over it. And the United States being set up could be considered a hoax. They basically set up their own Pinocchio. We fell for it. Thought we were getting away from the royals. Nope. They have Ishtar given to us by the sea that the beast comes out of. What is it doing? Setting fire to the heavens, liberating us from God and his laws. What do they call it? Statue of Liberty. There you go. Why does she have the crown? That's the Antichrist taking over Jesus. That could also be them spitting in our face, letting us know that they are the ones that took him off the planet. When you take an evil person off the planet, what are you doing? You're liberating the planet of their evil ways. So if you take Jesus off the planet, what are you doing? You're liberating it of its good ways. The United States was known for serpent worshippers. Now we wash up a flag. What does it do? Moves like a serpent in the wind. Is that an idol? Yes. As the government and military became idols? Yes. As the music industry and movies become idols? Yes. It's funny because you ain't supposed to have any other idols. There's that black magic manipulation again. We started idolizing illusionists, didn't we? Not even realizing that they were grand masters, wizards, witches. What are the Freemasons? Grand masters, wizards, witches. Who set up the government and the Constitution? Wizards, witches. The ones that escaped the Salem witch trials. See, we all know that evil will go against its own just to manipulate. And I believe that's what the Salem witch trials were. I believe witches started those trials to make it look like they got rid of it. Yep. The ones that were harder for them to acknowledge that they were witches. Because these people in this ideology has been in high places. And what's the Bible say? Wickedness in high places. What's another name for wicked? Witch, witches, witchcraft. Harry Potter and Star Wars was pretty much the same exact story, just delivered to your eyeballs with a different vision. Rawlings was a woman that was a witch, going after children with those stories and those books. Look how it was widely accepted. Look how Star Wars was widely accepted. Oh, I was pissed when I found out this connection. I was culprit of it too. I'm not saying that, I'm better than anybody. I'm saying that, yo, I was in the middle of this too, and this is what I've gotten out of it. We all were. We were all raised to accept it, so you can't bitch at everybody for accepting it. What you can do is bitch at people that know and still do it. Just like you all knew that NFL, MLB, NBA, they're owners, the ones that own the teams, including, this is a major one, and you all should instantly make these connections as soon as I say it, Patriots. the owner of the Patriots. Tom Brady's wife was a fucking witch. Yes. This is why they trick you into doing things to devour you. Lack of a better words, that's what it is. What does the Bible say? He is like a roaring lion, roaming around, seeking who he may devour. What is happening? We have a demonic group of people leading the world that is going around manipulating and deceiving people to take their life. Um, we've all seen that evil people will go against themselves. They will stab each other in the back. So why would you all follow these evil groups knowing that that's what they're going to do? Because you don't care. You want the money and the freedom. Money's not freedom. Nature is freedom, and y'all are killing it. This is why things were better back then. It wasn't because of the way the people acted, not 100%, that's why it was better. People did act better then. For the most part. Even though they were still fucked up people, it was still a better social interaction and dealings with people for the most part. Not everybody, no. But it slowly but surely got to where everybody was that evil and nasty for the most part. It went from like 30% of population to like 90% of population. I wonder if that's because of all these rituals and uncovering things that they shouldn't have messed with, and all these Ouija boards that they pushed, and CERN. Yeah, CERN's messing with evil shit. Oh, yes, it is. There is no way you're going to sit there in God's face and try to recreate how He created things, and He ain't going to do something about that. Well, why isn't He? Because He already knows you're going to fail. That's why. You're already doing it to yourself. Why does He have to do anything? He spoke it. It's the truth. You do shit against that, it's going to come back on you itself. It's going to prove itself to be right, just like everything else does. Yes, this is why the truth does not hide forever. This is why the truth always comes out. Because that is reality. Not only that, the devil is a liar. He makes these people think that the devil is so powerful, they're never going to get caught, they're never going to do this, and then as soon as they do what he wants, he's the one that lets everybody know what they just did. And then they're like, what? Yeah. I'm speaking of how he deceives you into taking other people's lives and your own. Right there. Do these women do that to men? Yes. Gee, where did we hear of a woman messing with demonic things? The garden. Why did she do that? Oh, because she wasn't satisfied with having everything? Boy, isn't that the same MO of 80% of women? Yes. You ever think that they're mad at themselves and just taking it out on everybody else? Escaping accountability for what they brought into the world, trying to push it off on somebody else to make themselves feel better. Because that's another telltale sign of a female. They do that. Yep. Men do it too. No. A lot of men see women doing it to them and they will do it back to show them how it feels. You're not going to sit there and use manipulation like that. Now, there are other males that are immature, raised by women, around women, and seeing that it worked for them, so they use it. It came from women. First woman, first man on the planet. What did she do without any interference? Not anybody showing her that, not anybody else doing it, nothing. There was nobody else around but her own thoughts. Right. A lot of people are coming up with this story that God built two humans out of the earth. And the one was Lilith and didn't want anything to do with Adam because it wasn't a part of him. Supposedly, people believe this is why God made Eve from Adam's rib. That's not true. You all are forgetting when they got kicked out of the garden, okay? They have already lived there for a time frame that we're not even clear on. Because of the way it speaks of it, it looks like it's like almost instantly, right? It wasn't. People lived hundreds of years. And remember, before they did that, people lived forever. And the only two people were them. There was evil things on the earth, not people. Now, a lot of people believe that there were two women that were created. No. Eve, after being tossed out of the garden, and Adam, because Adam did follow whether he knew it or not, which is the same shit that happens today. They get us wrapped in shit. Next thing we know, we're in trouble because of what they did. Right. Facts, reality. Those are all facts and reality. Anybody can run their mouth and try and put in, well, this happened this way or this happened this way. We don't know that. That's just what you're saying. Majority of the time, this is how it goes down with a female. Everybody knows it. Of course, they got it from the serpent that supposedly whispered in her ear, "Do as you please." And what do women do? Do as they please. Oh, how did that turn into the personality or character of Lilith? I think Eve changed her name. I think Eve went rogue, just like they do when they get caught doing all this stuff and none of their lives work or their lies work. What do? They go out and start being a street hoe. You want to know where all this evil bloodline came from? Eve becoming who she became after they got in trouble, which was the spirit of Lilith. That's also the spirit of Sid's. Yeah. Sudden infant death syndrome. Yes. She would sneak into people's houses, steal their babies, and steal their breath, as in take their life. And it's pretty funny how that demon is still around. Yeah, that's a demon that got a hold of Eve, the one that she messed with in the garden, the one that stayed attached to her to get Adam in trouble and to get them all kicked out. And what did he do? Oh, you'll be smarter than everybody. Oh, yeah, you'll become a god like him, even though they already were. Right. They didn't know they were. And the devil knew that. So he used it against them. What happens nowadays? Same thing. Same exact fucking thing. That's what's going on in marriages. That's what's going on in families. They get all pissed off because they didn't handle things right or because he's doing a good job and everybody's, likes him. So they get jealous of it. It's the same attitude of Lilith and Eve after she did what she did. Literally has not changed ever. They still do the same shit. What else does those actions of a female mirror? Succubus, which is a female demon. Uh-huh. What about the males that do it? What actions does that show? Incubus. Yeah. I mean, seriously, all the dots are there. You all just ain't clearing your mind and looking at it for what it really is. And one of the main factors why you can't figure stuff out is the Bible. Because you don't read it, you don't understand it, you don't see how things fit. You accept the devil's knowledge, which deliberately keeps you away from that. Imagine that. Even wizards and all that think they are the most intelligent people on the planet, but they're the most stupid because you're batting for the wrong team. You picked a losing team, and you are doing their bidding and backing them, even though they're going to lose, no matter what happens. That doesn't make any sense at all, other than being manipulated to accept something that isn't the truth. Boy, again, back to the good book. What does it say about accepting a lie? You're damned. Well, what about all these men getting manipulated? What about all the lies that they, you know, tell people? Well, obviously, you're not listening to the lines. If there's a male out there lying and manipulating to that extent or at all, that already tells you the fact that they're lying and manipulating. They are not with your time, just like the females. It doesn't matter how small it is or how big it is. If they're lying and manipulating, that should be the biggest red flag ever. Yes, you end up starting to like them a little bit. So when you start seeing these red flags, you automatically are like, well, maybe that ain't what I'm seeing. And you ignore it. Again, what's that lion doing? Right. Well, we've heard your stories. Yeah, where do you think I've learned and made all these connections? Where do you think you get wisdom from? Screwing up. Or doing it right. Or watching other people screw up. But still, you have to perform it and pull it off correctly and continue to perform it and pull it off correctly. That's how you keep in practice. Or you ain't that good. Right? Right. See, we're starting to mix in that manipulation of the world. Look at back when Jesus was roaming. He didn't like the bankers. He didn't agree with people selling stuff and ripping people off. Look at everything around nowadays. That's exactly what everything is. Selling people shit that is not worth it, stealing people's money by offering them something that is nowhere near the value of what you're trying to take. Well, you just said money and this and all that. Yeah, but you also got to understand that they changed gold for that currency. So you have no choice to accept it if you need to buy anything. So there you go. Cannot buy or sell without the mark. So yeah, this is why Jesus said that you all are going to accept that mark. And if it weren't for him, none of you would be saved. There are some of you that even though you that have accepted that, I'm pretty sure his explanation of why he chose this way or that way with you will be up to him. Well, yeah, just like it says, if you live in the land with these kings or rulers, you have God wants you to follow the rules. But of course, there's a fine line there because he doesn't want you to be a murderer, this, that, and the other. So you might have to follow the rules, but it doesn't mean you have to indulge in what they do. Bible says that they would hate us for talking about them. They would take our lives for doing that. They've done that. Every dark thing the Bible ever spoke of that people said has already happened and is continuing to happen. Now I'm not this big holy, Bible thumper like that. I should be. This world makes you believe that you shouldn't be, all because they don't like it. And yeah, back and forth throughout my life, I have battled with that, which I'm sure all of you have too. What do we know? When we have something right, what will they do? Manipulate us away from it, right? Yeah. Oh, it's a big freaking cluster. You know it is. It said the web would cover the world. We have the World Wide Web making everything disrupted and crazy. And it sucks us in by making us laugh, letting us connect with other people. Cool things that entertain us. It's no different than a magician or a jester. The jokers that used to entertain the kings and queens, it's no different. It's also no different than a moth to a light or a flame. And did you think about all that space behind that moth's back? Why he's being drawn to this light? What is normally happening? People, mainly rednecks, laughing, saying, "Watch this, watch this." Now, take that same ideology and put it towards the elites and us. They put shit out there to draw us to it so we don't see what they're doing behind our back while they're laughing. It's the same thing. I do realize that there are females out there that don't like all this stuff and are way better rooted and have a heart and morals like they should. It's just not as many as you think it is. Now remember, there's only 20%. There's probably less. That's on an average. And most of them are probably already married and being destroyed by an F boy that tricked them. And what is that going to do? It's going to turn them into one of those women, just like the men. When they get with these types of women, they turn them into the F boys because they're like, fuck this. What does that all go back to? What Medea says, I got to get them before they get me. What happens if they weren't planning on getting you? You know what they say about that? Fuck them. They weren't worth it anyway. Yeah. Where does that come from? Right? Ethiopia over there was one of the ones that perverted the Bible. You know that, right? And it's funny. All these people have tried to pervert his word, and it still comes through. Yep, they've changed the words. They've tried to change people's ideas of those words, this, that, and the other, and it still comes true. No wonder they're so pissed. Well, maybe stop trying to mess with things and just do what you got to do. What is something we have done since we were kids? Hard headed. No, we'll do it ourselves. Now, that could be hard road, doing it like God, or it could be fighting what you know is right. We are culprit of both of those. Later on, time shows us which ones we got right and which ones we didn't. Yeah, it's a big web ball of mess, and you gotta follow the strands, or you'll get tangled and never get that knot out. Y'all should know that from jewelry. You gotta follow that line, and if you pull it this way or that way, boy, you might never get it out. Right. So you have to really focus and pay attention to what's going on, every little detail, to be able to reverse it so it doesn't stay in a knot. If you don't know certain key factors, you ain't ever getting that knot out. Y'all are dumb, and it's time to wake up. Stop being lazies. Stop being pussies. Stand up.